shadows before time. Earth world, a blue-green sphere in the spectrum of space, a planet that was central to a plan created from desperation. In a space before time and form, before Earth, greed and desperation, a land of movement, colors, creativity existed. Beings of great intelligence called this space home. There were no boundaries, no voice of should, fear, or not enough. Harmonics were all of good. It was only as the intelligent beings of the collective, aware of more possibilities, set out to explore that they encountered the others, the outsiders. At first, the collective family of good embraced the others who postured in commonality. One by one, these soul families recognized that outsiders were concealing their true agenda and devices of attachment. Taken by surprise and ill-prepared for the controlling agendas of the outsiders, the family of good became unbalanced by their presence. Domination and control allowed all types of exploitation. Eventually, the outsiders invaded more families of intelligence and good and became more threatening and violent. These parasitic forces were taking over, sucking the life from every family member. In the worlds before Earth, the divine families of good took many actions. However, the space, energy, and creating of those families continued to slip away. Unless more was done, the original families would die. Another plan of desperation was formed. Members of the collective families met in secret to discuss possibilities. This council knew a new home was needed, a new world that would have the components for removing the parasitic outsiders. Several criteria had to be in place. Unseen harmonics would have to become solid to identify that which had hidden. Knowing that agendas of controlling power swirled in their midst was the first step. Although individuals would face the hardened forms of evil, forms of domination, that knowledge was necessary. For an individual to act quickly, the plan included independent agency. Waiting for a group consensus would allow parasitic outsiders to slip away. As one family member became aware, a command for the removal of the deceptive, life-threatening forces could be given. The possibility of breaking free restored a glimmer of hope to the collective families. Millions of intelligent beings, a portion of the entire family's number, thrilled at the opportunity to lift the family, and they had volunteered to participate in the Earth mission. The first assignment was to make the planet inhabitable. The second was to create systems to assure a thriving culture for the new home and mission force. Once those two assignments were in place, the primary element would be activated. This element would be the voice of authority that could remove and break free of the evil of the parasitic outsiders. The plan, 600,000 years ago, Neanderthals. Energy swirled as songs, dances, and prayers, broadcast codes of the vision, a plan for a new home, a home that would set the divine families free. Through the mist, just as the law decreed, a beautiful new planet came forth. The planning council watched, held the vision, and made adjustments until it was declared that the world was ready to sustain life. Once the planet was stabilized, those who had been chosen for this momentous mission, a portion of the divine families, were sent to the planet. those original members' high-frequency soul bodies would slip into physical suits, vehicles prepared for this planet. Two separate types of bodysuits, eventually named male and female, were vital for the successful removal of the outsiders. Each suit held the evolutionary codes reflecting the assignment of that body, as well as the evolutionary way back to home. In addition, circuitries for off-planet communication were programmed in the blueprint for each bodysuit. A dream of glorious creations became real soon after the planet's manifestation. The original mission force, the Ancient Ones, explored the surface of their new home, made contact with the Earth's stored resource, and brought forth abundant food, lush gardens, fragrant flowers, diverse animal life. Systems for stability and thriving were designed. The plan was moving along very well. But shortly after initiation of the element of the stage mission, which identified the outsiders, one slip occurred, a misstep, and the parasitics discovered the plan that was afoot. The outsiders immediately accessed the male bodysuit, re-engineered the circuitry, and like a virus introduced into an electrical circuitry of a present-day computer, their re-engineering crashed the evolutionary path. Then they rerouted the bodysuit's communications pathways to the outsider's command center. This action crippled that glorious bodysuit. This crippling allowed partial control, which satisfied the outsiders for a time. However, after using the male suit to damage the female suit, eventually they replaced the entire original suit's blueprints with others that supported survival, control through sexual appetites, and extensive birthing. All of these changes increased subjugation, dulled the senses, and created great fear among the mission force. Their energy fields became heavier, cycled in limits that the outsiders set, and memory of their original purpose faded. In the place of the mission's cultures of thriving for the entire web of life, false systems of domination emerged. The great hope of the divine families dimmed in the shadow of survival. There was only a vague memory of what had been possible. Thriving, 50,000 years ago, Cro-Magnon. The Judeo-Christian myth of the garden is a slice of the Ancient One's story. Although forgotten, their experiences are a critical part of our energetic history. Eve wandered down the sandy path toward the home she shared with Adam. Eve smiled as she watched her songs add color to the garden and observed as her dance called to birds flying through the trees. Amazing adventure. She had spent the day with an ancient teacher who had come to her shortly after sunrise. Come, the ancient teacher had invited. We need you now. Eve's heart sang with the opportunity. She had not conceived sensations of joy that this mission afforded. Very carefully, her teacher had reminded her of the composition of the energy fields around the planet. In her initial task of calling forth resources and beauty from the Earth Mother to create systems to sustain beneficial growth, Eve had put aside the fact that the outsider energies had been carried in with them. To the side was the truth that parasitic actions of outsiders had begun to pollute this world. If these outsiders remained hidden, their dominating agendas would usurp the grandeur and creativity of the ancient ones here. Because of today's visit, Eve remembered the necessity of a physical world and the female mission of authority. With unique abilities to discern the qualities of vibrational harmonics coupled with the power to command, a soul in female bodysuit was critical. The law of manifestation would cause all energy imprint vibrations to broadcast and cause forms to appear. Manifestations included those of the destructive parasitic outsiders. This law made the hidden danger visible. That was just as the council had planned, and being seen would be mute if there were no voice of authority to remove the outsiders and their toxic taint. Eve's soul song sang with the excitement.